Hey everyone, good evening. It is Thursday night. This is Justice for Comics. This is your Thursday night comics live stream. Hopefully, there's no technical difficulties. Hopefully, you can hear me fine. Let me know if the audio is not working. I'm sure we'll have a few people join us in the chat soon. I wanted to go over some comic books that you may want to pay attention to, especially if you're going to go to a local comic book shop. You happen to find it on the wall. You may want to grab it, especially if they have it priced pretty well compared to eBay or the other sites out there right now. So we're going to kind of go over that. I've got a couple books to show off related to some of the books that are real hot right now. So yeah, let's dive into it. We're going to discuss some comic book news, some developments that have been happening in the last week. A particular comic book grail came in at a very high grade recently at CGC. It's definitely creating a stir in the market. We're going to talk about that too. Get your opinions on that. Yeah, so let's jump into it here. I'm going to be using a few things. I haven't been on CBR in a long time. Let's take a look. Oh man, I think they've changed the format too. Yeah, boy, they have. Let me share my screen with you guys. Let's take a look and see if there's anything worth looking at here. You want to look at comics. And let's take a look and see. Let's close down some of these pop-up windows, of course. I was looking for a particular article regarding the latest CGC book. Yeah, maybe. Let me see if I can find it here. Is it comicbooknews.com? Is that what I'm looking for? Nope. Nobody has the domain of comic book news. That's sad. Oh God, should we go to Bleeding Fool? Let's take a look. Let's see if they're highlighting these things. The Masters is going on right now. I watched a little bit of the tournament today, specifically Tiger Woods. I followed his group online. He did pretty well. I think he's 1 under through hole 11. So there was a delay in the Masters today because of the weather. I guess this morning they had some wind and rain. They got about 2 inches of rain. Definitely in Florida, we got a lot of rain this morning, a lot of high winds. We had a tornado warning in my area. I tried twice to do a live stream this morning, and I got knocked off. My internet came down a couple times. So yeah, it's been a little frustrating. This time of the year, we don't normally get big storms, but yeah, you can't predict the weather. That's why it's called weather, right? There's people that get paid to try to predict it, and they don't do a good job of it. So it happens. Maybe I should Google it. I want to go into the story of Giant-Sized X-Men. This is a book I used to own at one time. I had a CGC 9.6, which is a very high grade. But apparently not that great of a grade anymore. There is a 9.9 out there, believe it or not. I wanted to see if there's an article that goes into it more. Comic Connect. Yeah, here you go. Look at that. 9.9 white pages. Man, it kind of sucks to have if you have a 9. I mean, 9.8 is a really high grade book, especially from a book that goes back to 1975. That book's almost as old as I am, almost 50. Oh, it's almost 50 years old. It's hard to believe there's a 9.9 copy out there. But what this does is obviously, if you think about it, this is a good sales tactic by CGC. What it's going to do is it's going to make collectors, a certain percentage of collectors that own 9.8 giant size X-Men #1 are going to think, hey, maybe I think mine's a 9.9. They're going to be looking very closely at the scans of this book. They're going to be looking at the edges, the the, the binding, the back of the book real closely. There are 2 nice scans of the book you can see from this website, comicconnect.com. Yeah, it's a beautiful copy. So I'm wondering, was this a 9.8 book that somebody cracked, resubmitted, and CGC finally relented and said, yeah, this is a 9.9. So this is the highest grade book. We have no idea what this will eventually sell for. And what's the last 9.8 sale? That would probably be a good thing to look up. Let's see if eBay has that. Let's just see. I'm curious. 9.8. Of course, they're going to show the reprints. All right, there's one for 35,000. 12 people watching it. $275 for shipping. Going to be shipping that thing in a look at that. Look at that Hulk 181. 175,000. It's crazy. There's another one asking 50,000. Man, that's a big difference, isn't it? 35,000 to 50,000, or the $15,000 jump. Is it because the other one's not white pages? What's the story here? No, it's white pages too. Well, you can kind of tell this one. Yeah, there's a little bit of roll on the binding, right? You can kind of tell on the binding there. A little bit of a roll. Okay, so that's what people are asking. I see one 35,000 copy, another 50,000. Oh, here's one for 29,000. All right, so 3 copies, 29, 35, and 50. There's another one for 30. Unbelievable. I should search by highest priced, right? That would make sense. Yeah, 50,000, 35, basically 35,000, 30,000, 29,000. So you have 4 books, 4 9/8s on eBay at the moment. What was the last sale though? Last completed sale of a 9/8. Has there not been a sale on eBay lately from this book? Doesn't look like it, does it? I don't see one. So the last was, I don't know how far back. Usually this goes back at least a couple months. Yeah, I don't see one. Wow. Well, hey, times are tough economically. There's a 9.0 that sold for $4,000. Another 9.0 that sold for 4,500. Yeah, my 9.6, I paid back in the day. I paid, I think I paid right around $2,800. I think that's what I paid for it. $2,800. That sounds about right. And I sold it for about $4,000. I made a little bit of money off of it. I had it for a few years. I wish I could have kept it. It's still a great book. I mean, it's the first appearance of Colossus, first appearance of Storm, first appearance of Nightcrawler, second, I think it's the second appearance of Wolverine. Well, technically, no. First appearance is 180, second appearance is 181. So I would say it's third appearance, is what I would say it is, of Wolverine. But yeah, there's no recent sales of a 9.8. So what's the 9.9 going to go for? My guess is the 9.9 will be somewhere around $100,000. That's my guess. 100 grand. So what this does is it should lower the value of 9.8s that are out there. Quite substantially. And then, there's a lot of people saying, especially if you look on YouTube right now, and if you pull up YouTube videos of dealers, what's the opinion of dealers that deal in graded books all the time? They said that basically from the Bronze Age, which is what this that book is, just like 181, it's a Bronze Age book, mid-70s. You're going to probably see more books come out that are 9.9s. That's speculation, in my opinion. I don't know. Again, grading is very, very subjective. It's fraught with all kinds of human error, mainly because humans are doing the grading. Look at that, 9. I remember when I bought my 9.6 Hulk 181, I probably could have bought a 9.8. I think the 9.8 at the time was like 12 or 13 grand. I paid 4 grand originally for my 9.6. And I remember the 9.8 was like, I think it was 12. So it was 3 times what I paid for the 9.6. And I just thought at the time, I remember thinking, that's insane. It's 1 grade higher and it's 3 times the price. Of course, I didn't think about the fact that there is just not as many 9.8s out there on the CGC census. But we know there's a 9.9 Hulk 181. Is there a 10.0? I think there is one 10.0 Hulk 181. And I think it sold years ago at a really high price, and it hasn't surfaced since. So somebody owns that bad boy. Same thing with the 9.9. I think it's been many years since that one came up for sale. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All these books, and who's buying these books? It's probably hedge fund manager. I mean, if I was running a multi $100 million, $200 million, $500 million hedge fund, maybe $1 billion hedge fund, they can buy alternative assets. They're allowed to buy collectibles, by the way. So I wonder how many high grade comic books are owned by BlackRock or Vanguard. I would imagine there's got to be a few. I don't know. Maybe there's a couple hedge fund managers out there that are into collectibles. Comic books are an interesting, very, very high end, very rare, high end collectibles. Yeah, I mean, hedge funds have the money to easily buy that stuff. Anything under $1 million is cheap. So we had a recent sale of an Action Comics #1 that sold for $6 million for an 8.5. And I know there is a higher grade out there than that. I think there's a 9. Isn't there a 9.0? I know there's a 9.0 out there somewhere. Somebody has it. But 8.5 is the highest that's come to market in a long, long time. So that went for a record price, $6 million. I love hearing the story how Nicolas Cage used to have an Action Comics on his coffee table. He had an original Action Comics in raw grade, raw condition, just sitting on his coffee table for people to read. That's how crazy he was and how much he was into Superman. And I think there's also people that have claimed, I think there's a story about somebody acquired, because I think he owns several copies of Action Comics #1. And I think somebody had bought I don't know if it's true or not. There was a story of a storage unit in California that was purchased that supposedly had a Nicolas Cage Action Comics #1 in it. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. It sounds like myth to me, but it makes for a good story. Makes for a good story. So there you go. That's a big announcement. A 9.9 Action Comics #1. I mean, not Action Comics. I'm sorry. Giant Size X-Men #1. Currently being held by Comic Connect. And starting bid is $1. I don't know. It says upcoming auction dates to be determined. So I don't know when this is going up for sale, but there it is. That you can read the serial number on the book. Yeah, I mean, if I look closely, first appearance of the new X-Men, Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Thunderbird. Second full appearance of Wolverine. Second full appearance. It's really third appearance. I don't know why. I totally disagree with that. It's a third appearance of Wolverine. But yeah, that is a nice copy. Now, I don't know. The binding doesn't look perfect, does it? I don't know. I can still see it's a nice copy. I don't know. I mean, can you discern a difference between that and a 9.8? Probably not. I don't know. You have to get your microscope out to see the difference between this and a 9.8. It's a damn good copy. My 9.6, you definitely could tell there was a couple flaws with it. The one I owned, because there was, it had a little wave. You know, it because it's a thicker book. It's a pretty thick book. The slab is thicker too. It had a little bit of a, it wasn't completely flat. The surface of the book. It had a little wave to it. So I don't know. Maybe that 9.6, if it had been pressed, maybe the person that bought it from me had it pressed, and maybe it's a 9.8 now. Who the hell knows? But yeah, when I bought it, I don't think pressing was quite as good as they do it now. I think they've gotten pretty good at pressing books. But there it is, 9.9, mint condition, Giant Size X-Men #1. Yeah, pretty nice. It definitely sent some shockwaves through the comic book collecting market, especially professionals and dealers, people that owned the 9.8s. I think you get a variety of opinions. Some people are pissed about it. I don't know. Some people think that it might devalue the current 9.8s that are out there. That's possible. We'll have to see. I mean, if this thing sells for over $100,000, I don't know how it really hurts the 9.8s that are out there. The 9.8s are still going to go for $34,000, $35,000, $40,000, aren't they? That's still a lot less than a 9.9. So we'll have to see what the 9.9 eventually, if it eventually sells. I think it's going to be well over $100,000 if it does sell. Maybe 150. We'll see. I'm sure somebody's making plans to buy it right now. It doesn't surprise me. The other thing I wanted to talk about, we'll just go to my Instagram. I like to promote my Instagram account anyway, so I'm up to, what am I up to now? 1,600 and 1,500 and some followers, 1,536 followers. Here's a video I did showing Usagi Yojimbo, the Crow #1. This is the 1 in 40 variant. No copies on eBay at the moment. And the last sale was $465. That closed on April 9th. I got a better picture of it right here. There you go. Midtown had a copy for $67. It sold quickly. I was able to pick up a copy on eBay for $70, and it also came with the 1 in 10. I had pre-ordered a copy for $40 from one of the websites. I can't remember what website it was. I should be getting that in the mail, I think, over the weekend. I think the 13th is when maybe Saturday I should be getting it. That's the projected tracking on it. I should get it on Saturday. And then I've got one more copy that's coming from Things from Another World. I paid only $4.50 for it. For some reason, they had it priced at the regular cover price. They did not have it priced for the incentive. And I think originally the reason for that was when they came out with the solicitation on it. I think some of the websites didn't know it was a 1 in 40. So supposedly that's been shipped to me. I should be getting that early next week. So I might have 3 copies of this book. I have 1 copy in hand right now. I'll show that real quick here. Yeah. So here's the copy I have in hand. Usagi Yojimbo, The Crow, #1, the 1 in 40. The artist is Ituro Mitsuhiro. No, Arita Mitsuhiro. He is a famous artist that has illustrated Pokemon cards predominantly. And we can go to his Instagram if you want to see his art. This is one of his first comic book covers. It's not his first. He did a comic book cover. I think I'll pull it up, but I believe he did a comic book cover. It was that series that Peach Momoko had done, the Demon Wars. Demon Wars #1. Peach is doing the writing and the illustration on that book, and he did one of the covers, and it's a regular priced cover. You can buy it on eBay right now for $4 or $5. That's his first comic book cover. This is his second published comic book cover, to my knowledge. And I think what's going to happen is there's a lot of anime people. Anime crosses over to comic books because there obviously are anime comic books. Recent artist that's been around a long time in the world of anime, but fairly new to the comic book industry, is Takashi Okazaki. He's only been around a couple years in the comic book industry, and he's becoming very, very popular. I think Arita Mitsuhiro is going to be very similar. He's going to get more and more cover work. And yeah, this is a great cover. He did a nice job on this. I like it. If we go to, in fact, if we go to his Instagram page, he posted, you know how they give artists comps of the comic book covers that they do. So this is pretty cool. He posted this. So he got this from Stan Sakai, the creator of Usagi Yojimbo. Sent him his cover and did a remark and thanked him. I love that. Thank you, Arita-san. This is beautiful. I mean, that's just awesome. Can you imagine that? That'd be so fantastic. Imagine how awesome that would be to have that in your collection, right? You get a personal copy. Your copy gets sent. Your comp gets sent by Stan Sakai, signed by him, remarked by him, personally thanking you. I mean, that's just awesome. Love it. So good on Arita Mitsuhiro. If you go to his Instagram, he's quite the artist. I mean, look at that one. He did like a watercolor there. Look at that. It's fantastic. I love that. Look at that watercolor. So beautiful. I mean, he's got all kinds of different styles. So here's an example of a trading card that he illustrated. Wizards of, what was it called? Wizards of the Coast? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's Magic the Gathering. It's Magic the Gathering. Look at that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Look at that artwork. Fantastic. So there you go. There's his original post. He posted this back on January 24th. So I remember seeing this, and I went through all the different websites. I was able to pre-order one copy for $40. It's a one. I knew it was a 1 in 40. I was able to get the Things from the World. So I've got 3 copies coming. Man, I wish I had tried to get 5 copies. I should have bought the one off Midtown for $67. I should have bought that one too. I had no clue that this book was going to blow up like it did. But yeah, I mean, you can just see I mean, look at that. I love it. He's so artistically talented. There's a video of him doing that drawing. A nice little canvas. You can kind of go through his Instagram, though. You can see a lot of stuff that he's done. I mean, this guy's very talented. I mean, look at that dragon. So detailed. I think this guy has a really big future in comic books. He's got some hot Asian chicks on his Instagram as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look at this one right here that he did. Look at that sketch. Unbelievable. Fantastic. Beautiful samurai picture. I don't know where he lives. He does some traveling. Looks like he was in Paris not too long ago. Yeah, I mean he's definitely known in the Pokemon world, and I think he's going to become pretty well known. Oh, there's that cover I was telling you about, Demon Wars Scarlet 6 #1. That's his first comic book cover. I need to go out and buy that. It's still cheap. I mean, it's not a incentive variant. You can pick it up for $5 or $6, maybe $10 with shipping. Yeah, it's just a cool looking cover. Very nice, little watercolor there. Fits in well with the Peach Momoko covers that she's done. But I dig this guy. I think his talent is there. He's illustrated a lot of Pokemon cards, but he is branching into comic books now. And yeah, I could see this getting more and more popular. So that's just my opinion. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I think he's got a good future in the world of comic books. So I dig it. I like his art. Let's move on to another book that I've talked about at length, and I've also posted on my Instagram several times. I have it on the wall behind me. Harley Quinn #37, the 1 in 50. Only 2 copies on eBay right now, and you can see the pricing is pretty crazy. $525. Buy it now, or best offer, free shipping, or $600. The only two copies at the moment. I'm pretty sure we've had one sale so far of a 9/8. By the way, if we go to completed sales, I mean, we've got some pretty big sales here, right? The last auction was April 7th. 29 bids, closed at $455 plus $6 shipping. We've got another one that was a buy it now that sold the same day for $400, free shipping. And then there's your 9/8. Asking $700. Somebody probably put a bid out there a little lower, and they accepted it. I'm just throwing out a prediction here. The next 9/8 that you see for sale on eBay, I'm sure they're going to be asking more than $700. I'm pretty sure they're going to be asking $1,000 or maybe even $1,200, and they're probably going to get it. Sebastian Firamira is the artist. Some people don't like this cover. I like it. I think it's creepy. It's definitely a creepy rendition of Harley Quinn. And you can see I have it right here on my wall. In fact, whoa, let's not drop it. That would not be good. This is one copy. This is my best copy for sure. This one is literally, this should be a 9/9. Everyone says, oh yeah, it's a 9. It's a 10. It's at least a 9/8, right? And then I've got a second copy that's almost as good, where there's a little, and that's more of off the when you look at the left-hand corners of books, Marvel especially, you'll see that little. It's not a blunt. It's kind of where the book comes off the press. Sometimes you get that little flare out. It's not a big flaw at all, but and they'll still grade that. They'll probably still grade that a 9.8, even with that little in the corner. It wouldn't surprise me if they still graded a 9.8. So I've got 2 copies. Probably a book I should get graded. I mean, this, in my opinion, this is probably $1,000 book in 9.8 for sure. In 9.6, it's probably a $600 to $700 book at this point. So yeah, that book has been on fire. And now we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. Is the price going to drop? A lot of times this happens. A new book comes out. There's that FOMO feeling comes over people and investors. Oh, I got to get this comic book. I mean, it's overcome me. I've done it. I didn't pay $50 for these Harley Quinn books. I paid $100, $112 for one, and the second one I paid $150 for. So I paid way over ratio. But obviously, I feel good about that, considering the last sale was at $455. Yeah, so there's only 2 copies for sale. It's a pretty rare book. I mean, there's just a lot of comic book shops. DC books, if you haven't noticed, go talk to your local comic book shop and ask them, how is DC comic books selling right now versus Marvel. Marvel's selling much better. The only real DC book that sells is Batman, the regular Batman. That's about it. Harley Quinn, not a big seller. And the reason why is the writing is terrible. I've tried reading the Harley Quinn books. It's just too zany. I don't know. It's just the storylines are just not very strong. I don't know. I wonder who's writing those Harley Quinn books. Could it be a SJW woman? It probably is. The writing on it is not the greatest. Batman does well because Chip Zdarsky is writing it, and Chip Zdarsky is on point. The 2 books you definitely got to be buying on a regular basis right now are the regular Batman series with Chip Zdarsky. We're right now in the middle of we're near the end of the Joker War. And the other book is The Avengers Twilight. Fantastic. I mean, just great writing. Very, very good. Those are the 2 best written books right now, in my opinion, in comic books. Besides Ice Cream Man, and there's just a couple independent books. Ice Cream Man's fantastic. There's a couple independent books that are just really, really well done. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees has been really good. That's been a hot book. But yeah, that Harley Quinn, just there's not a lot of shops ordering 50 copies. So that book should be rare. That's just not. You're not going to find that on the shelf at your local comic book shop. There's about 6 comic book shops near me and within 50 miles of me. I called around. Not one of them got that copy. Not one of them did. There was a shop over in Orlando that got 1 copy, and that is one of the largest shops in all of Florida. All of Florida, they got 1 copy. So this is a tough book to find. I posted this book a week ago on CBSI's Facebook page. And man, you wouldn't believe the hate that came out about this book. I swear, out of, let's say, 20 posts, 20 comments, let's say 20 comments about this book, 17 of them were negative. 17 of them were like, oh, I hate it. The art is terrible. Who the hell in their right mind would pay? I wouldn't buy this for $50. There's just a lot of hate thrown at this book. But I don't know what to tell you. There's enough demand and certainly not enough supply to keep the price high. Will that sustain? Will that be the case months and months from now? I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows. But at the moment, if you want a copy, you've got 2 choices. Or try to find a local comic book shop that has it. Good luck. I think you're going to have a hard time finding it. So you either say, hey, I really want that book, or I don't care about it. I'll move on to the next thing. So there you go. Harley Quinn 37, 1 in 50. Now, another book that I have um, that's blown up a lot recently, and I've talked about it. I've posted on Instagram about it. Um, is this book. This is Captain Marvel. Number 5, this is the 1 in 25 by Russell Dodderman. I got one copy. I paid $50 for this, so I paid double ratio. At the time, I thought, man, that's a lot of money to pay for that. I paid $50. Let's see what it's asking. Let's see what the ask is on that book right now, right? Let's see. Let's just look. Captain Marvel. Number 5. 1 in 25. All right, there's an auction. Ends in 4 days. Already at $104. Only 2 bids. That's interesting. There's the number 6, 1 in 25 by Jeff DeCall. That's come down a lot. There was a couple sales at 150. That's a buy it now is at 120, and there's an auction on it, so you might be able to get it around 60 to 70. There were a couple auctions in the last several days in the $40 to $50 range. So this book is not as hot as everyone thought it would be. There's a buy it now for $230. There's another one for $255. There's a buy it now on that DeCall for $125. And that's it. That's all. So how many of there's what? One auction and 2 buy it nows on that book. That's it. So maybe you can get this on auction a little less than $230. What I have a feeling is if this bidding gets up anywhere near $220, $230, this buy it now will be gone immediately, and this $255 will be gone too. So I think in the next 3 to 4 days, all 3 of these copies will be gone. That's just my opinion. If the auction gets high enough, the buy it nows will be gone. So all 3, in my opinion, will probably be purchased in the next 4 days. And then we'll have to see. I've not seen any graded copies come to market yet. At least I don't believe so. Let me check sold listings. Here's an auction that ended April 9th for $182, 14 bids. There's one on April 1st that ended for $190. Oh, there was a 9.8. Okay, there's a graded copy that sold at auction back on March 31st. That's a few weeks ago for $330. There's another 9.8, buy it now, that sold March 27th for $400. March 27, buy it now for $138. That sold. Another buy it now for $138. So this book is, I mean, you go all the way back to near the end of March. There's a sale for $200 raw. There's been some sale. I mean, this book has been selling. March 11th, somebody bought that for $57 from the UK. They've done pretty well on that. There was another one. Look at that, March 8th. 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, 3 days before. 3 days prior, an auction ended at $183. So as soon as somebody listed that, somebody just scooped it up. I mean, go all the way back to February. This thing's been selling pretty well since February. February 25th. It's crazy. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's a hot book. We'll have to see. My prediction is in the next 3 to 4 days, by the end of this auction, this one here that's asking $104, I believe you're going to see these other buy it nows sell. So I think all 3 copies will be gone by middle of next week. Unless there's more to come, unless there's more listings that pop up. I don't know. That's my opinion. but I like it. Captain Marvel #5. It's a nice cover by Dodderman. I like it. All right, this is a book that I bought on auction. I've wanted it for a long time. I've avoided buying it because, I mean, I really wanted to get a 9.8 on this, but man, the 9.8s are so expensive on this book. It's a cool cover. It's not a major key. It's just a really awesome cover. It's a very cool artist. Yeah, you might be familiar with this. This is Cyclock. I believe it's Cyclock #2. Is it Cyclock? It's a second printing. I just got this in the mail today. It's not a flawless copy. It's not a 9.8 or 9.6. I would say it's probably like a 9.4, maybe 9.2. It's got a couple flaws on it. It's a second printing. Yeah. Cyclock #1. Second printing. The artist, who's the artist on this? I can't remember. I believe it's like a fairly well-known anime artist. The art in the inside of the book is good too. You know, it's a nice copy. There's a couple there's a couple one little spine tick and a couple little spine dents. It probably could be, those spine dents could be pressed out. You know, if this book was pressed, I think it could be a 9.4. It might, right now it's probably like a 9.2. But the edges are really clean and sharp. You know, the book's in great shape other than those two little flaws on the spine. But, you know, I paid $177 for this book. I mean, it was either that or a 9.8. It's going to cost you $700, $800 for a 9.8. A 9.6, I think, is at least $400. So I was like, you know, this is a high, it presents well. It looks, you know, the nice thing about those spine ticks is you really can't see them. So if someone just looked at the book, they'd be like, oh, that looks like a really mint copy. And it does. You'd have to look really closely to see that there's a couple flaws in the book. But the edges are perfect. You know, it looks really, really good. That's the reason I bought this. But I also realize I'm not going to be able to get that book super high grade for the price I want. So if I go to Cyclock #1, second print, you know, a 9.8, someone's asking $1,000. A 9.6, $320. There's a 9.6, someone's asking $770. That's my comic book shop. That's it. There's 3 copies for sale on eBay. That's it, 3. So it is a pretty rare book. And to find it in raw grade is really hard. And to find it in raw grade below 200 is difficult. Luckily, this auction ended at a weird hour. I mean, I think it was late at night. There was not enough people watching it, and I got lucky. I noticed there was nobody really bidding on it. I threw out a high bid, and I got the book. It's not perfect. It's not a 9.8. It's not a 9.6. It's probably a 9.4 or a 9.2. Currently a 9.2. With the press, it might be a 9.4. But it just looks really good. And I'm okay with it being raw. I don't need to have it graded. You know, I'm okay. Just getting this in a 9.8 is just extremely difficult. Oh, I forgot to post the eBay page. There you go. So that's what I was talking about. Those are the 3 books for sale right now. One for $1,000, one for $320, one for $770. So the 9.6 for $320 doesn't sound too bad. It's still a lot more than I paid for mine. It's just an awesome cover. I guess it's 2 people did the cover. Yost and Tolabao, I think it is. Yeah, Harvey Tolabao did the cover. It's just a cool cover. It's an iconic Cyclock cover. So people that like Cyclock, this is definitely a book that's on their radar. It's one of the most in-demand books for a Cyclock cover. The print run was really, really low. It's just a difficult book to find, especially in high grade. And there's only one 9.8 out there for sale. And if we go to Sold listings. Let's see. What's the last 9/8 sale? So there's my purchase, 177. Now there's somebody that got it a little cheaper in raw condition back on April 5th, 128. There's a 9.6 that sold for 300. There's another one that sold for 240. That was a raw book. There's another 8.0 that sold for 170. That's the regular Finch cover. That's not the one. Yeah, I mean that's it. It's a tough book to find. It doesn't come for sale. It doesn't come up for sale very often. I don't know. I'm just thinking long term, 10, 20 years from now, people I think are still going to be into X-Men. I think people are still going to like Cyclops. And I think that book is going to be always desirable and people are always going to look for it. So I don't know. That's my opinion on that. But there hasn't been a 9.8 sale in a long time. Yeah, $1,000. I mean, I think I would probably pay 600 for that. 600, 650. I think that's a price I would be willing to do. But 1,000, yeah, I don't want to pay $1,000. But it's rare enough. There're just not too many 9.8s out there. It's a tough book to find. I like it. That's all I can say about that. All right. Here's another book that I posted on my Instagram. I just got it in the mail 2 days ago. It, again, same artist that did the Harley Quinn cover, Sebastian Ferramira. He did a 1 in 25 for Ghost Lore #9. I think this cover is really good. I like this guy. I think he's a good artist. I mean, look at the detail. I mean, this is a creepy ass cover. He's really good at doing creepy covers. I'm going to message this guy and see if he'll come on my show. I mean, I haven't interviewed an artist in quite some time. I would love to have him on the show. Plus, I'll tell him, hey, go watch my videos. I've been promoting the shit out of your artwork lately. So, I don't know. I would love to have him on the show just to talk about his process. I definitely can interview artists better than just anybody, any comic book YouTuber out there, because I understand art really well. The process that artists go through to create a fantastic image like this. I love that cover. It's fantastic. So that book right now, if we go on eBay, I think I bought that one for $25. I think I got that one off of Midtown. They only had one copy, by the way. I was the one that bought it. Yeah, Ghost Lore #9, the 1 in 25. I go to eBay right now. There's no listings. No listings currently on eBay. Maybe nobody cares. I mean, it is a Boom Studios comic book. And maybe it'll show up on Boom Studios' website soon. Who the hell knows? That's been known to happen. Last sale was April 9th for $20 plus $11 shipping from Canada. It was a very fine plus condition, so maybe it wasn't perfect. And that's it. I don't see any other pre-sales on that book. Oh man, look at that sale. Star Wars High Republic #9, the 1 in 25. Oh, someone stole that book for $10. Dude, that book was selling for around $100 for a while. Holy crap. I can't believe someone got that for $10. That's a David Aja cover. Wow. I'm telling you guys, there are some really good deals right now. It's kind of hard to, it's kind of like a needle in the haystack type of thing though. There are people dumping books right now. I think the economy is in trouble. I don't know. All I can tell you is when comic books are being sold cheaper than they should be, that's a very good sign that there's problems in the economy. Because let's face it, people that buy comic books, this is disposable income. This is definitely disposable income for me. I spend I probably spend a couple $1,000s a month on comic books. And I do sell some books here and there. I don't sell near enough to cover the couple $1,000s a month I spend on comic books. So it is disposable income for me. It's just a hobby that I enjoy. Maybe way down the road, years from now, some of my purchases will be worth a lot of money. A lot of them probably won't. I totally believe in the 80-20 rule when it comes to investing in anything, whether it's stocks, comic books, collectibles, whatever it is, baseball cards, whatever it is. About 20% of what you buy will be worth a lot of money. The other 80% will be worth almost nothing. So eventually what will end up happening is I'll have 50 or 60 or 100 long boxes of comic books that are worth almost nothing that I basically will be giving away. And then I'll have 20% of my collection will be valuable. You know, it'll be the graded books I have or some of the high grade key raws I have in my collection. But the rest will be, you know, but did I get value out of it? I bought them, I read them, I enjoyed them. You know, in my opinion, it's still not a waste of money because I'm still enjoying the hobby. I'm enjoying the comic books. And some of them go up in value, some of them don't. That's just the way it goes. But I think that 80-20 rule almost applies in everything. Stocks, comic books, collectibles, Pokemon cards, you know, whatever you want to collect. I think about 20% of what you buy will be worth money. The rest will be worthless. So if you know that going in, then, you know, it shouldn't be as painful. It shouldn't be as bad. You should be able to get through this. No problem. Real quick, there's a couple other books that I got that I'd like to mention. This is Dark Souls. I think it's issue number 3, maybe number 3. I'll take it out of the My Light so you can see it. Dark Souls, The Willow King, number 3. Yeah, number 3. I like this cover. This is Tiffany Terrell. Just an awesome cover. I love it. Just a cool looking cover. I think I got it for cover price. I don't know. I don't know if it's an incentive or anything, but pre-ordered that bad boy. I think I only paid $3 for that book. So yeah, I like the cover. Total cover buy on that one. Another one that just came out a week ago is the Red Sonja. Red Sonja. This is a Joshua Middleton cover. What is this book called? Red Sonja, Empire of the Damned, issue number 1. This is written by Steve Niles. He's a good horror writer. And this is the cover by Joshua Middleton. I love it. There's a colored version of this that was for sale this week at Midtown for $45. I think this was like $10. So, and I pre-ordered it, so I probably paid like $8 for it or something. I pre-ordered a lot of my books, so I get them for like, so if it's a $10 book, I usually get it for like 40% off. So I don't know, what's that going to be? $8, $7, $8. So I do pre-order a lot of my books. Yeah, I like this cover. Just a cool looking cover by Middleton. I like Joshua Middleton. I think he's a good artist. So that was one that was total cover buy. I don't know, you know, I don't read a lot of Red Sonja books, but once in a while there's a really good cover that I just have to buy. And then this is another one. This is a guy that I've talked about on my channel before. If you like those, remember those books, the Find Waldo, where there's all this detail and you got to like look for where the Waldo is. This is the same kind of artwork. This is Fila Buketen, I think that's his name. He's from the Netherlands. I've messaged with him on Instagram through a translating app. I wanted to have him on the show, but he doesn't speak any English, so it's kind of tough. And I don't speak, what's his language? He's from Norway, Netherlands, Norway. So what's his language up there? Nordic? Is it a Nordic language? I don't know. I don't speak it, so. But I love this artwork. This is Transformers number 1. This is the 5th printing. This is the black and white sketch cover. I mean, you kind of have to see this in person. The detail on this cover is just crazy. It's so good. I mean, it's just, I love it. It's a different style of art that you don't see very often. there's other artists that sort of have a lot of detail in their artwork. James Stokey comes to mind. Fila Bukatan, I think he's in a class all of his own. I don't think anybody's doing this kind of shit. This is like he probably spent 10 hours doing this cover. He doesn't do a lot of covers. He's done some Transformer covers. He did a couple DC covers. He did a Harley Quinn cover. He did a Joker cover. That was really cool. And I'm glad to see he's still getting work. Transformers, it's awesome. By the way, the Transformers book has been great. I'm not a big Kirkman fan. I don't like Kirkman's writing, and thank God Kirkman isn't writing this. Warren Johnson is. Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah, Daniel Warren Johnson is doing the writing. And he's the artist, and the art and the writing is so good. So I don't recommend a lot of Image books, but God, I mean, look at the art, the writing. It's good. Transformers is good. It's really good. And I do have Transformers #1, 9.6 white pages on the wall. So yeah, that's definitely a good book to have in your collection. It's not a 9.8. It's not a newsstand, but it's still a nice copy. 9.6 is still a good copy. I got it I think I bought it like a couple of years ago, so I didn't pay a lot of money. I paid under $200 for this. I'm sure it sells for more than that now. So I bought that, and I bought the G.I. Joe at around the same time because I just had a feeling eventually these books were going to be worth having. This is the G.I. Joe 9.6, and that one is newsstand, by the way. So at least I have a newsstand on the G.I. Joe. Yeah, I just love having those books. I mean, that brings me back to my childhood. I had G.I. Joe figures. I had a couple of Transformers figures. I never had the Optimus Prime. I kind of wish I did. I love that Optimus Prime figure. I couldn't afford. I mean, it was expensive back in the day. I think that was like a $40 or $50 toy back in the early '80s. That was a lot of money for a toy. I mean, toys were like $8 to $10 for the most part. So to try to get my parents to buy me a $50 toy or a $40 toy wasn't happening. So yeah, I always kind of wanted that Optimus Prime figure, but I do remember watching the cartoon, the G.I. Joe cartoon. I had a lot of the G.I. Joe figures because they were cheaper. So I did collect those, and I had a couple of Transformer. They were the cheap ones, so they were like the $10, $15 ones at the most, I think. So that's what I had for you guys tonight. That's what I wanted to talk about. Some books that might be worth checking out that are hot at the moment. I try to keep you guys updated on current market trends. I do a review of the Hot 10 list every week. My new Comic Book Day video, I kind of show you, hey, this is what I think will be hot in the next week or so. Make sure you try to grab a copy. I try to do a good job of that so that you guys know. Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll focus more on the older stuff, the older keys, which I still have a lot of those on the wall. I still want to complete my John Byrne X-Men run. I still need to get a couple key issues from that run. Probably need to work on that this summer. Maybe the market will fall more on comic books. The comic book market has been soft lately, so I definitely think that there's going to be some deals through the summer. Inflation continues to be a tough thing. I don't know if you've gone to the grocery store lately or gone out to eat. At least where I live in Florida, it's getting more and more expensive. The cost of everything's been going up. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So it might create some opportunities in the world of comic books and collectibles. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you guys apprised on my end if I see anything that's worth mentioning. Hope everyone has a great evening. Looks like I only had one person chime in the chat, which is Kenneth Bird. Yeah, sometimes I should have sent out notification to a lot of my subscribers. I didn't do that, especially on Instagram. I probably should have sent out an Instagram notification, but I know a lot of you will watch this on the replay. This weekend I'll be watching the Masters. Bryson DeChambeau is in first place after the first day. I think he's 7 under. Second is Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler's, if you're looking at, DraftKings or who to put money on, if you like to do sports betting, I think Scheffler has the best odds. He's definitely the favorite. He's world ranked number 1. He just came off a big win of the Players Championship. He won that back to back, by the way. I don't think that's ever been done before, back to back Player Championships. So he's got a hot hand. He's a great golfer. He plays well under pressure. DeChambeau, he's won only 1 major. He hits the ball. He hits the shit out of the ball. There's no doubt about it. He hits 400-yard drives. He's a very technical player, but I've seen him lead a lot of tournaments where he doesn't end up winning. So maybe he can pull it out. I think he's a good player. I think he's good for the game of golf. People love to see that long ball. Hey, people loved Babe Ruth back in the day too. People want to see power, and DeChambeau provides that. He's good overall. I think he's good for the game of golf. Whether he can hold out and continue to play well, that's a tough course to play really well for 4 days straight. Very tough. So we'll have to see. It's going to be very interesting. I got a buddy that's up there today and tomorrow for the Masters. So he's going to try to get me one of those green Master pullover shirts. I think if you buy them, if you're at the Masters, I think they're only like $100. But if you try to buy them online, they're like $250. So so maybe in the next week or so, you'll see me wearing my Masters pullover. I told them to pick me up one. I'll reimburse them. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be wearing my Masters pullover shirt next week on one of my videos. All right, guys, that's what I had for you. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I will be doing a video on the weekend, possibly Friday night if the list comes out early, but I do like to do that Hot 10 list from CBSI. If I don't do it Friday night, I'll do it sometime on Saturday. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you soon.